Going on, guys? Money Making Joey back here doing another quick video for you guys, and I have a topic that I actually want to speak about. I've noticed a few different videos on the topic on YouTube, but I kind of wanted to give my spin on it just due to the fact that living in the New York, New Jersey area, it's actually something that I've actually came across a lot. Not so much recently, but a lot in the beginning of my journey here doing rideshare for Uber and Lyft. And that's taking cash fares. So essentially, it could work in many different ways. Like, you can just randomly have someone ask you. I've had all of the above actually happen to me where I will just have a passenger get in the vehicle and they'll say to me, hey, do you mind turning the app off and taking cash for the ride? Or you'll have someone that asks you, hey, you know what? I've already requested the trip, but I'm looking to make a stop or go somewhere else. Do you mind if I give you cash for, this trip? It's a few tricky things with that, and the reason why I say that is, and it depends on the passenger. Anytime you have someone inside of your vehicle and the Uber and Lyft app isn't actually on, you're kind of putting yourself, in my opinion, in a little bit of a tricky situation due to the fact that anything can happen along the way. If you get into an accident and you don't have commercial insurance and you're transporting a passenger, that can get a little bit tricky on your regular insurance. Now, I know that some Uber and Lyft drivers out there take it just a tad bit different. They don't allow customers just to, randomly ask them, hey, would you prefer this option, or whatever the case may be. They'll have a passenger get into their vehicle and they're automatically trying to convert them over to cash. Hey, you know what? I'll take you here. Do you mind paying cash? I've heard drivers really doing this on longer trips. So like, you'll have someone leaving the state and it's a big trip. Uber's looking to pay 60, 70 bucks for it. Hey, do you mind giving me the extra? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am not really a fan of taking long trips. If you've been subscribed to the channel for some time, you guys know, hey, I am not really a fan of long trips. But if you're driving, you're out on the road for the day, and, you get an offer, or you get an offer on the app for a long trip, and you decide to take it and you pick that passenger up, I am not going to tell any driver out there, do not take that cash, because on long trips, let's be honest, you might get offered $60 for that trip, and that that passenger actually paid $125, $150. So you could easily potentially double your money for that trip. I believe on longer trips, the driver should be compensated more, because at times, the cut that these rideshare companies are taking out of those longer trips, listen, that needs to go to the driver, especially if the driver's in a scenario where it's like, I'm going to take this trip out of state. It's not going into a state that I'm authorized to drive in. So when I drop this passenger off, let's say if I took them 50, 60 miles out, once I drop them off, and this is my biggest problem with these longer trips, I believe there should be some form of extra compensation in there. If you're going into a restricted state, like if I'm leaving New Jersey going into New York or Pennsylvania, I, as a New Jersey driver, am restricted in those states. So I have to drop that passenger off from that long trip and drive that 50, 60 miles back empty. So 150, 60 mile trip out, I actually put 120 miles on my vehicle. Something you have to think about. So if you could get double the money or some extra money out of it, hey, like I said prior, I am not going to knock you for it. Now, some of you out there, depending on where you drive, what I said in the actual beginning, I think it's really important to point out, where customers are offering you money. Like I've even had, like I'm just out driving for the day, right? I am not looking for hails. I am not looking for random people on the street to jump in my vehicle and pay me for a ride. I'm only on the Uber and Lyft app. Now, being someone like myself in the New York, New Jersey area, like I mentioned prior, if you're someone out there watching this video, it's probably important to note that if you're in like Ohio or Kansas, Wyoming, something like that, you're not really in a big city, it's probably going to be very rare that this happens to you. But I myself, being in a big city, like the vehicle that I drive right now, I've actually never had this happen in. But a lot of the vehicles in New York City, they're typically, like Hyundai Sonatas, Toyota Camrys, Toyota Highlanders, and things like that. So back years ago when I used to drive a black Toyota Camry, I would automatically pull up to places because people are used to this car being a cab. And they're automatically trying to come up to the car and try to go somewhere. Like, I've even been in scenarios where I'm just pulling up to somewhere to drop an Uber or Lyft passenger off, and immediately as the actual passenger is getting out of my vehicle, someone else standing in the street, let's say if I was dropping them off at a train station or whatever the case may be, there's someone else standing there like, hey, can I pay you cash for a ride? Now, I know many drivers out there that are gonna accept it. Like, I even pulled into the airport one time. I'm waiting for my actual Uber passenger that I'm picking up inside of the airport. While I'm waiting inside of the terminal, two ladies come up and they're looking to pay me to give them a ride. So the potential could be there for you to make some money, outside of these apps. Just one thing that I mentioned prior that I definitely want to caution you on is that you might want to have commercial insurance. And if you're watching this video, you haven't been subscribed to the channel, there's a video that I did previously, it was probably 2 to 3 weeks ago, where I talked about, hey, you know what? These rideshare companies, the money that they're paying out for these commercial policies, they could easily go ahead and put that money in drivers' pockets, and you pay an extra $200-300 a month, get your own commercial policy. Then this way, no matter what state you're in, you would easily have the ability to now pick up hails, pick up, cash paying clients. So it's definitely, something to consider. Let me know, like always, down in the comments what you guys actually think in concerns to, taking cash fares. Get subscribed to the channel if you guys haven't done so already. Money Making Joey, I'm out of here, and I will see you guys in the next one.